so natural for us to go into it. I want to introduce you to our listeners. Firstly, I want to welcome you to Seva Transformation Academy podcast and YouTube show. It's a real delight to actually bring you on because you're so dear to me. Guys, meet Jinnie, one of my dearest friends since childhood. She told me not to mention the age, so I won't. But she's very
well that childhood friend.
Will do. She is a lifestyle influencer. She is a dance teacher, and she owns a dance company called Nupur Dance Company. She basically has devoted her life to entertainment and how to develop people's dancing skills, and it's amazing to watch her do her thing. She is a natural teacher, and and from knowing her, I know that she's also the most excellent student in her field, because that's what makes her a great teacher. So welcome, Jinnie. Thank you so much for being here. Would you like to say anything before we start?
I think you've pretty much covered all bases. So first of all, it's such a pleasure to be able to invite her to this platform. And I've been following your journey, for so long. And, you have been an inspiration for me to kind of follow this path, as well. So I remember having that conversation, with you like so many years ago now, when I was sort of on the fence whether I wanted to pursue this journey, I guess, more on a full-time basis. And, I would still vividly remember the conversation that we had, and any kind of, I guess, doubt or, anything that I had at that point was just kind of gone.
Wow.
And you really inspired me. Yes. Like you inspired me.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah. So I needed that, that energy. And I'm like, you're the first person that came to my mind, that I wanted to have a chat to, because you are walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So
wow.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, exactly. The way I kind of felt that we are such a good fit on this platform is because of this thing that keeps us connected over the decades that we've known each other, is our mindset. The topic of mindset is quite a new buzzword as well in the marketplace, in when it comes to personal development and professional development. But we kind of have been doing this quite naturally, as we talked about on the phone the other day, and that's why I thought, it'd be actually great to bring you on and we just share our phone conversation here online, and for others to hear, because you just don't know who can be inspired to follow on the path by hearing it, because I guess, the intention here is to not teach. We're not teaching anything here today or any other time. We're just showing up to say that, hey, we too think like this. You can too, and if you're going through this, then you can do this, you can reach out to people like us, no matter where you are on your journey,
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need more platforms like this. And I think when we were growing up, that's one of the things I personally feel like that was missing in my life, is having these mentors, the go-to mentors that are easily accessible, which I felt we didn't have growing up in our formative years, which would have, I don't know, perhaps made such a significant difference in our personal development.
Tell me about it.
Had we had access to these, mentors, whether it be YouTube or, through social media or in person, it just wasn't available to us back then. Mentors were more our teachers at school or tutors or, in that kind of arena. Personal development was almost non-existent, growing up. And it's something that we had to come into through our own personal life experiences. which is the way it should be. But I think people have a lot more material and resources now.
Now, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It has been,
which we didn't have.
Like we can see, it has been contextualized to our professional lives and personal lives by people that have recognized that this is actually an ingredient for growth, and it's an essential on the path of transformation. If we are going to flip any coin to make it work for us, then we need to adopt some way of doing things rather than being so accidental about it. But like you're right, you're so right. Like if I wasn't aware of the word mindset till I actually started to look into why do I get these results in life, or why do people treat me like this, or why do I feel things to be this way, like why? And I guess that kind of was my catalyst. What do you think is your catalyst, if you were to go back and kind of reflect? What sort of questions were you asking back then when you were just coming into it?
Oh my God, I think the journey is, with the mindset, it's always going to be a work in progress. I don't think there's one sort of pivotal moment in someone's life. It's a culmination of all the experiences that you have throughout your life. So the journey, first of all, to change or transform, is you need to have that desire and awareness inside of you, first of all, that needs to be there, right? And then that intention needs to be backed up by action, right? So intention, so thoughts alone is not going to create change in your life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there are people out there who look at quotes all day long, and I'm guilty of that too. But posting quotes and referencing quotes all day long is not going to create change that you want in your life.
Don't we all know that? Yeah,
right. So it needs to be backed up by action, and that starts with your daily habits. So that's probably one thing that I wasn't good with, is having positive, good daily habits that form sort of that foundation, that baseline. Right. So for me, back in the days, I think my journey would have started in my later teen years. So to kind of understand my transformation, my mum was very much, a bit of a warrior, not a risk taker, very risk averse, you know what I mean? And that kind of rubbed off on me, where my dad was sort of polar opposite. So I was always sort of struggling to find a balance, between the two. Is, not take risks, stay in my comfort zone. I was, being retreat to what feels comfortable. You know what I mean? So I had to break through that. And those types of behaviors kind of led to other things in how I interacted with certain relationships in my life. You know what I mean? How I responded to certain situations. I would, I was really reluctant to change. I would get stressed out at the littlest, tiniest things. That was me. And I was aware of that. And, that hindered certain opportunities and certain types of relationships in my life that I wanted to attract. So it kind of came to a crossroad where it started to take a toll on me. And these behavioral patterns, I had to break it because it was draining me of energy. I wasn't showing up as the person that I wanted to be. So I started asking those questions. How do I want to show up in the world? What kind of legacy and emotional footprint do I want to leave? So you need to answer these questions first before you can start your transformation journey. So I was thinking about these things every day, and what steps I needed to take to show up as the person that I wanted to show up as.
Yes, so much clarity, Jinnie, that's so much clarity. And this is where, this is what makes the journey so much more easier, when you can actually dive deeper inside you, and go, well, what am I experiencing? What is the desire that's coming from this, but that whole action taking to kind of dive deep with your situation and asking yourself meaningful questions rather than why me and why did this happen to me, versus asking those different questions to create a pathway to move forward. That's the key, isn't it? That's the key to actually making and shifting through some sticky places in life, like you mentioned, your lifestyle at the time. You could see that, damn, I'm not feeling supported energetically, emotionally. I feel very rattled by very small things. I need to do something about this. And that goes, that's really, paints a really clear picture about what you mean by awareness and desire. It's really beautiful. I mean,
there are some people who retreat to the comfort zone. They would rather stay in that place of complacency than, feel uncomfortable and go through that transition process to come out on the other end. So that's where I think a lot of people get caught, is that uncomfortable place. But that's, when you realize that's the space from where you grow, and that's where you create the mindset that you want for the life that you want, and not living life on autopilot, but from a conscious state, conscious state.
Very much, yes. Well, it's one step at a time, though, isn't it? Like, everyone's doing their journey in different places and different timelines. And I guess, when I was thinking about our topic today, I was thinking, back when, going back even 5 years ago, if you were to talk about speaking to the elders in the family, one of the most common things they say is like, oh, my time is gone, it's too late for me to change, but let's bring like say for example, that concept of change, can be quite scary for so many people. So like you said, the comfort zone versus coming out of it looks or has looked very different to different people, because maybe their minds haven't opened to the fact that there is always, it's never too late. Also, there is always something you can do to make yourself feel more empowered than less empowered, right? So that the journey of developing new beliefs that turn into meaningful actions is the process of changing your mindset. So I was thinking, like, right now with pandemic, how can we not change? You know what I mean? There is no way you can say that, oh, it's too late for me, and and how can I make any difference? And I'm sensing from speaking to my clients or people around me that everyone's been affected, no matter, even if that doesn't look like they haven't been affected, everyone has been, even if it's unconscious still for some. With the pandemic, what do you think is happening around you? What are you noticing happening with people and how they're thinking and behaving? What are you noticing?
I don't think that people are just on survival mode at the moment.
Yeah.
And, and rightly so. And I hate being in that mode. I hate being in that survival mode, because people don't have an option. You can't have new experiences. You can't have any human interactions or connections. Everything has been stripped away from everyone. Yeah. So only now we have received some kind of a roadmap to ending lockdown. But prior to that announcement being made, people were just living in limbo with so much uncertainty, financial distress, emotional distress on every level. So how do you navigate through that when you're just kind of stuck in this, straitjacket, so to speak, having to navigate through all these, hurdles
limitations
and emotions, without any outlets, and you have no outlet as either. So it's tough, and I think there's no right or wrong way to come out of this. Everyone's situation is very, very different. People who are living alone, or those who have a job or having to juggle their full-time work and kids, homeschooling.
Yes.
a lot of stress, women being, I guess the caretakers in the family, having to take on a lot more domestic duties. You know what I mean? Having to take care of
Absolutely.
their family from morning to night. So it's a lot of responsibility and there's no outlet. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I have to say, even though I have a capacity to take a lot, to handle a lot in my life, and even in this time around, this lockdown probably impacted me quite a bit as well. Like, I had good days and bad days, as you would expect. But the main thing for me was I had to just surrender and give up control. So the more I felt I try to hold on to a plan or, something like structured, it caused me more stress and anxiety. So I just said to myself, I just need to take it day by day and just be in the present moment, do what I can do in this situation, and just focus on being healthy, focus on staying connected and doing what I can till, we have an out of this situation. So, but it's hard. It's really, really hard, not having those connections and,
Yeah.
lost opportunities in business. People who are in
Yes.
business, that's another front. Like, so many lost
Small
opportunities
business, small businesses have suffered so much. I mean,
immensely,
and
immensely.
and at the same time, there's again, I think like it's a story, it's a unique story for a lot of people in so many ways. There are so many of my clients that have had the best year ever in business, whereas some people haven't had a good year at all, or they've faced a lot of challenges in juggling these other responsibilities along with the business challenges and personal development, etc. So I think there's what I'm noticing is a big appreciation for what we can be grateful for and all the other opportunities that have shown up in terms of like a lot of people actually now exercise more than they ever have, because that's the only time they're allowed to get out. So their
Yeah.
exercise has become like a big thing in life. So which wasn't in the past. So I guess that's one of the positive things. At the same time, I think in the last 12 months, if you're looking back, if we are to look back, it hasn't been easy, of course. The change, fact that we've had to change so much all at once, it has definitely challenged us all to kind of assess and reassess and kind of find new ways of doing things, right? So I wanted to just ask you how what are the things that you have experienced in terms of looking at how you've adapted within the last 12 months with all the challenges that you faced, like you were saying, business and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of the personal front, I
Yeah.
probably had to hone in on my daily habits, a lot more. I had to make sure I had to fine tune that, because if your mind is not right, then nothing else is going to flow. So even though we came out of lockdown last time, I wasn't under any kind of illusion that this is it. We've come out of this. I always knew that, look, we're still in a pandemic. God knows when this is going to end. So whenever we have spurts of freedom, we just have to go 200 miles an hour and achieve what we can achieve in that time. So there's no time to wait. You just have to act and execute, plan and execute when you have those spurts of freedom, to be able to do what you need to do and just take advantage and create opportunities. Obviously, the online platform, for a lot of businesses, especially mine, having to have, offer, classes and being able to connect with people and things like that. So, those opportunities are there, but for me, it's solidified that you need to have contingency plans. You need to have multiple sources of income. You can't put all your eggs in the one basket, because that's just not going to work. So I had that mindset probably pre-pandemic, and that probably paid off coming into this situation. And and that's, I'm probably going to be staying, sticking to that kind of that framework, and or constantly looking for multiple opportunities and not just relying on one stream of income or things coming my way. So
That's beautiful.
probably,
That's actually beautiful and so inspiring. It's inspirational because, I also, as far as I've heard, also, there's a lot of talk about when are we going back to the normal days? It's like, it's got to be a new normal. And like you said, you've evolved the way you're thinking about finance, relationship, your personal agenda, and how to create more abundance around you with what minimal thing you've got, but you've developed a new framework around how to live life, so that's beautiful to see. And and it's very inspiring, because if we can all adopt a way like that, any change that comes our way, it gives us an opportunity to kind of assess, and go, is this the way I want to experience life, or is there something else I can do as well? Admittedly, as you know, my business has changed. Right now I'm sitting in my new studio, which is like, it just got this microphone and the camera and the lights and everything like that. And I've let go of my physical studio because it's just not a sustainable idea. Like, putting all my eggs in one basket meant that at that time, But now I'm teaching at colleges. I'm doing my online courses. I'm doing podcast interviews. I'm enjoying life in a different way, just because, I opened my mind to ask questions like, well, if not this, then what? And also, and also listening to myself as to how do I want it to be, giving myself permission to actually have a say in it. Like you said, if we are in survival mode, then all we're going to do is get by today, and we're going to suffer in the long run, because it's all a band-aid then, isn't it? So we can't just, we're not letting the cut actually heal. We're not actually repairing it. We're not actually learning, so
you're not moving forward. You're not creating anything, or you're not, you're living your life on default mode.
Yes. And so that goes hand in hand with actually creating a new baseline, like if you create a new baseline for, look, I'm not going lower than this. You know what I mean?
That's it. And you have to.
And that is a commitment. And it's a commitment, so whoever's watching this or listening to this, we have to make commitments to ourselves about what do we want to actually experience, in terms of actually manifesting the changes we want. We have to decide and make a commitment towards what is it that we actually want to stand for, give to ourselves, and, make or create, through this time that we're spending on Earth. Of course, I want to also make it relevant for people that are that have got so many other commitments, rather than doing a creative way of life, like an entrepreneurial life. We are all creating a reality that we all share, right? That's what I wanted to really get to, which is the pandemic is a shared reality, whether we are entrepreneurs or employees or not. We're contributing to a reality which is created by each and every one of us. So each and every one of us, if, like they say, you put one bad apple in a basket of good apples, guess what happens to the good apples? They'll also start rotting. Why? Because And so, like, we're all affecting and impacting each other through the way we are thinking. If I think that I'm, oh, poor me all the time, then how am I being of service? How am I being of service to myself? And how am I ever moving forward? It's like, so it's like
adding
it's time.
value to those around you. Adding value to those around you, contributing in a positive way to society as a whole. So you need to be looking at that, you know what I mean? You can't get into a self-pity mode. You're allowed to have those moments, not saying that you can't, Like, you
Yes.
need to shake yourself out of that mindset. And you
Actually,
need to link, yeah.
yes. Go ahead. And you need to, sorry, I'm
And
sorry.
the way you kind of, or the way I personally feel to do that, you need to kind of connect with a higher perspective, a higher purpose.
Mm.
So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an employee, anyone who's in service of something bigger than themselves, have that mindset of abundance and, contributing in a positive way to someone's life, or making, whatever progress you want in your life. So
That's
I think
exactly what I was going to
yes,
ask you to clarify. Exactly what I was going to ask you to clarify. It's like, what, if not that, then what should we be, subscribing to, and what should we be standing for? So what do you find yourself doing when you need a bit of attention and care and emotional support and everything around this time? Or what do you tend to reach for to comfort yourself and make progress on your journey?
I mean, with me, if I'm not feeling at my optimal level, in terms of if I can't give back, especially because of what I do, because I'm constantly interacting with so many people face to face. So that transference of energy can be felt quite strongly.
Exactly.
So if I'm not in a good space, then I'm not going to be able to give back to my students, or when I have performances booked, with clients, they will feel that energy that I'm not at my optimal self.
Yes.
So if I'm not there, I usually kind of retreat back,
Yeah.
and I just do a lot of reflection. I nourish my body. So I think what you put into your body is crucial. I'm very, very now, in the past few years, have honed in on my diet and what I feed my body. That impacts your mindset as well, and your mood.
Yeah.
Right? It's everything works, in unison together. So, I take time out. For me, dancing has been such an amazing therapy. So it's not just, a business that I do. It's my way of life. It has shaped me. It's probably one of the main things that have shaped me. It's kept me grounded. It kept me centered. So what meditation and yoga does for other people is what dancing does to me.
Exactly.
It helps me block out the noise, bring me to the present, helps me, release any kind of anxiety, stress, or negative emotions. So that's what I do when I get into my creative space. I listen to podcasts for, certain mentors and thought leaders that I follow when I need guidance and I need clarity in my thoughts. So that's what I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I just need some time out to myself to rejuvenate, revive, and then come back to the world.
Beautiful. I love that. It's a holistic, it sounds like it's a holistic self-care system you've got going on there. And I always like to call it a toolkit. So what I say is that it's like having your first aid kit. You're not always going to use everything in it, but you should have a range of things there that you can kind of pick on to apply when it's hurting, or when something happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So one thing that I've picked up from one of my mentors, Robin Sharma, he talks about heart set, mindset, soul set. You need to be feeding every aspect of yourself on a regular basis and maintain that on a regular basis, so you can be equipped to handle anything that life throws at you.
Beautiful.
So you're not constantly reacting from a survival mode, right? So that's where your baseline, goes up, right? That's when you can start to really thrive in life.
Yep. Beautifully put. He's the guy that wrote the 5 a.m. Club, right? He's Robin Sharma. Yeah. I like him.
I'm not quite the 5 a.m. person. I'm definitely nocturnal.
No, you don't have to. No, it's not. It's actually, if you were to ask Ayurveda about that, not everyone should be getting up at that hour. It's not actually
Yeah.
suitable for
Yeah.
everyone's doshas. So it's all right. It's okay. You're doing
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
You're doing fantastic. Don't worry about that. But it's funny because it's also it also brings to mind to mention that, you know, this journey is not one size fits all kind of thing. You know,
No,
we're having this
no.
conversation because this is a concept that connects us. This is a way that we have both discovered that we feel supported, you know, on our journey of a lot of uncertainties, really. And so going through a pandemic, which has kind of brought on this insurmountable amount of uncertainty for everyone, being a leader, teacher, a person that is running a business of any kind, or just not doing the normal 9 to 5 timetable, we live with a lot of uncertainty. And so it goes hand in hand to have this self-care routine, toolkit, and lots of good beliefs to back up you know, our way of thinking, our way of feeling, and, you know, examining whether we are doing the right thing or not. And yeah, so you said it. Yeah, you said it. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Robin Sharma, who else would you put on your list of top 3 or top, who's on your top list of top
There's quite a few people that I follow. So again, like I was just saying, I wish we had these types of mentors, you know, growing up, you know, who would help us make sense of, you know, our thoughts and our transformation journey, and just give, you know, guidance. But you know, glad that they're out there now. But my top picks of people that I resonate with for different reasons. So in addition to Robin Sharma, I would say Jay Shetty.
Yes.
So I like how he has brought kind of mixed spirituality, his spiritual knowledge, and applied that to everyday life. So for me, there was always a disconnect between religion and the practical application in everyday life. My mum was a very religious person, right? She was a very spiritual person, but there was a disconnect between, you know, that spiritual world and applying that and how to live that in your everyday life. And I find Jay Shetty does that really well for me. The other person that I follow quite closely is Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley. So he's another personal development, you know, guru that, you know, has redefined conventional education.
Yes.
So, you know, so, you know, his entrepreneurial skills and what he's been able to, you know, achieve, you know, setting you up in that mindset for, you know, whether it's you're an entrepreneur or whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
I've always, you know, he's been sort of a go-to person for me, you know, for guidance. Emotional intelligence, I find he has a lot of emotional intelligence, which, you know, I think people can benefit from these days.
Yes, absolutely, including ourselves, you know. Yeah, it's an evolving.
Absolutely, definitely. And Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah,
amazing.
amazing.
Ability. Yes, I think his forte is neuroscience. So just the way he articulates human emotions, and the way he makes sense of human emotions, and, you know, about living in the past, and, you know, just living from a state of abundance and not lack. You know, it's just amazing. It's mind-blowing. So every one of those thought leaders and mentors add different things in my life, which I need. And just their personal journey about how they have overcome adversity and where they are and what they've been able to achieve. So it hasn't just been a smooth sailing or a transformation that's been linear. So that's the other thing. So any change or transformation is not linear, right? So it's going to be sort of up and down, right? So I think
it depends because, like, I think everybody's got their own timing for different types of transformations. But it is a cyclical process, no matter what, you know. It's like, something happens, you have to declutter, then you have to transform, then you have to integrate what you learned, you know, through that whole process.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah,
amazing list.
Yeah. So, for me, people, the mentors or the thought leaders, they need to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. So for me, I'm a very action orientated person. So I just personally and just naturally resonate and gravitate towards people who are actually living their life, living what they're preaching.
Values.
And not just, living their values, their value systems. It's important to me, and having quality interactions, having quality thoughts. So everything sort of comes in full circle, right? So when you get into that mindset, you start to attract certain opportunities in your life. You start to attract quality people in your life. Right?
And you're attracting that because you're thinking differently. You know what I mean? Your thoughts are attracting those people. Your thoughts are attracting those experiences.
Exactly.
It's not happening by chance, and
it's not accidental. Yeah.
It's not. So, I mean, this what I'm doing right now with you in 2010. No, 2010. I was living at my mother's place. She had a spare room, so I was living with her then. And I used to stick post-it notes on my ceiling so that as soon as I woke up, I would see what I want.
That was your vision board.
Exactly. And so I didn't forget throughout the day what I'm living for, what I want, because the mind is such a monkey. And I did a podcast on this that's coming out soon, which is about how, the mind is such a monkey, and that's why we lose so many good ideas, and they come and then they go because we don't have that traction on those ideas because the mind is so occupied and untrained for so many of us, So anyway, long story short, that time I actually got an idea that I actually want to have a radio show called Yoga Talks, but it's evolved now because we're in a different era now, back in 2009, when you compared that to now, it's a big time lapse, since then. Topics are different now. We've grown a lot, mindset is a topic now, so what I realized also on my journey is that yoga is one tool, you know what I mean, and Ayurveda is another tool. What are these tools teaching us to actually be better people, evolve and be in harmony with each other? Ultimately, that's what we're here to be. We're not here to compete with each other. We're not here to, outdo one another. We're here to actually encourage each other, inspire, and help each other move forward and evolve.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's a natural process. It's a natural process. So ultimately, to do that, we have to let the bullshit go. We actually have to. We can't carry it all forward. So
you have to cut through the noise. You have to shed things in your life. You have to shed things in your life to transform, right? And that goes for relationships that don't serve you. A certain maybe career path, whatever it is. That doesn't serve you. You need to be willing to let those things go, shed those things, and move in a different direction that is better aligned with you.
It's exactly right. So it's like the process of transformation, or say any change that you really want to make, it's time to think about the long term. Don't be a short term one hit wonder.
That's right. Don't be so stuck to short-term validation or gratification.
Expanding yourself in such a way that you think about yourself bigger than what you see yourself to be, and the only way to do that is to actually changing the beliefs that we're holding within ourselves, that, we grow up like, I actually want to go back to that topic, what you shared about your mom. Jinnie, actually, for the listeners and viewers, she grew up with someone very devoted to Krishna, so Lord Krishna. But she is also from a different era, like the last generation. So my mom's generation. And in that generation, the way they grew up, they didn't get a chance like we are getting a chance to explore personal development.
Correct.
Like
No, you're
they
right.
had, they had timelines to do stuff, and the way about life was, well, you go to school, after school you go to uni, then work, marriage, mortgage, kids, and it's like a linear line.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice
Everything was
and
very
safe.
planned. It was very planned. Yeah, predictable
nice and
planned.
safe. It's very industrial way of living. But now we have ventured out, because that's our era, that's our generational change and freedom that we have gained. And we have to keep going on this path. We have to keep rooting for each other, to keep staying open to these changes that are afforded to us because of the sacrifices our parents have made,
That's right. Yeah,
and the work they've done too. And I guess, that brings me to talking about, right now where we are, and one of the things I really love about you is that, you're very open-hearted as well. You're courageous, you're not one to let the limelight blind you, so to speak, I feel.
No, not at all. No, I have a very strong sense of self and my place, in the world. And I think humility is very important.
Yes.
Confidence is one thing, but arrogance is something else. And, arrogance is something I just don't mesh with people, who have arrogance, for no reason. The whole fake it till you make it.
The reason why I think you do that is because you don't take shit from yourself, your monkey mind, you actually don't allow yourself to fake it till you make it to yourself. That's one of the things I always sense from you, which is, this girl's got her heart open, and she's always, I always think of, I feel people, when I connect with them, I feel people, and I just feel so much clarity with you. And this is not a judgment, but it's like a feeling, people make you feel a certain way.
That's right. That's right.
That's the effect I feel from you, where I can be my complete self with you. And I also have to say that I also like the fact that I don't let myself be lazy with you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the effect of the inspiration that you have with me, which is like, well, not that I am lazy with anybody, but I'm just saying that, the mind has its own nature. If I let it, it will be that too, and naturally the mind is quite negative because that's what it's absorbing. But it is my job to surround myself with the right people, the right content, the right philosophy, practices, food, habits, to keep myself upright, and moving in the direction I want to be. Yeah. And so I feel like
yourself with is crucial.
Yes.
Well. Who you choose to surround yourself with is crucial.
Yeah, and that's why I was very grateful this morning, thinking, that's, I'm so grateful that I get to, this is not work for me, but it is work. This is what I do. You know what I mean? This is,
when you love what you do, work, work doesn't feel like work, right? That's why we have followed this path.
Yeah, and that's why I'm getting to actually have a friend here, and being able to talk. And this is just our life, it becomes your way of life. This is how, and that's kind of, I feel it's something that we should all be aiming for, because I think the time where people get together, have a drink to bitch about people is gone. It's a waste of time, you know, and like the saying goes, I'm not going to say pardon my French because I really meant that, you know, I meant that, you know,
say how it is.
right?
I love that.
You know that saying, right? It's very,
I have heard that saying.
yeah. So it's like what they say is, you know, those days are gone because how's that evolving the way we are living life? It's not. So it's
very
time.
Small-minded. It's those people who feel the need to fill their time, you know, speaking about other people or judging other people. And it's unfortunate there's a lot of people out there who are still doing that, who haven't evolved, and that's, you know, that's their way of life because, you know, they don't have anything, I guess, bigger going on in, you know, inside of themselves or in their world that they feel the need to belittle other people. But that's another topic. But
yeah, I know, but yeah, that is a completely not even a subject of ours. But you know, I wanted to just say that it's actually time to learn from this shared experience we're all having, the pandemic. You know, if we've got things that we need to vent, if we've got things that are scaring us and making us feel really insecure, it's time to do something about it, you know. And the way to do that is, yeah, that's why you're listening to this content, to kind of go, right, this is another way I could be approaching my life. This is another way I could be thinking. That's my intention behind, you know, having this conversation publicly, because there is another way, and most of the time when we are conditioned to live in a certain way, think in a certain way, and do things in a certain way, we are on autopilot to be doing those things that don't serve us. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And if we're not surrounded by any information that makes us go the other way, then it becomes really hard for anyone to wake up and go, right, I should not be here, I should actually be doing something else, or listen to a podcast to, you know, brighten my day, or etc.
Whatever it is, like, do whatever you need to do to, you know, cut the noise and bring back your focus to help you live a more fulfilled life. That's at the end of the day what it comes down to. Where you put your attention is where your energy will go.
Beautiful. Yes.
And I have felt that myself personally. Like, I've been guilty of that, you know, when I just, you know, scrolling through social media, looking at nonsense. I'm like, why am I wasting time doing this? It's not doing anything for me. I'm not learning anything from this, right? So, you know, just cut that out and spend more time.
Replace it.
Doing with something else. So, you know what I mean? And the more you keep doing it, the more consistent you are with your habits.
Yes.
Right? It will become second nature to you.
Yes.
It's going to become a way of life for you. Right? It's not going to feel like work. That's just going to be your way of being.
Yes.
Right? That's going to be your way of being. That's how you evolve, and that's how you level up.
That becomes your baseline. No more dirty stuff, you know, no more stuff that you yourself don't want to be done to. Then why would you, you know, exactly. Amazing.
Yeah.
I think we've shared a lot, haven't we?
We can go on for hours. We can for so long.
We could talk like this. Yes, we could go for hours. Absolutely. We're very passionate women. So and we're very Southeast Asian at the same time. So we're both Bengalis. What do you expect?
Yes, but I think it's more important, more so for South Asian women, right?
Yes.
Who have
That's why I brought it up.
Standards and norms and things like that imposed in their lives.
Yeah.
It's more important to have that awareness and that willingness to change your mindset.
Yes.
You know, don't be afraid to go against the grain and be an outlier. Being an outlier is not a bad thing, right? I would rather be an outlier than be sheep and living a very predictable life that is not satisfying and leaves a void in you. I'm not saying be a rebel, and, you know, it's not about that, but, you know, that's not what I'm saying, but curate a life on your terms, right?
Have the courage. If you like, You can be a rebel if you like. You can be whatever you like.
Sure, sure.
I think what people need to also realize is that it is very easy to make friends that you want these days than ever before because of social media, because of mentors like that are out there. You know, we have communities, you know, that you can reach out and become a part of a community
That's
that can foster
right.
your growth and help you,
Exactly.
yeah, as
Yeah.
to find, if you're ever scared of being left alone and not being supported by the people that you want to leave behind, the best way to do it, and the way I did it, is always finding friends that are doing through doing some sort of educational system, you know, like going to enroll myself into something that will help me better myself, and then eventually meeting people that are doing the same thing, and they become your friends, new friends, and
That's
that
right.
helps
Yes.
you. Yeah. And I guess you're
Yes.
doing that in your dance school. You know, in your dance school, they're so lucky to have a woke Southeast Asian woman teaching them not only dance but a great mindset, and then, you know, you're bringing that vibe to everyone's life. And this is the thing about, you know, being enrolled into creative arts and health oriented or personal well-being oriented education, because you meet other like-minded people in those circles who can bring you out of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can bring you out of
Exactly.
your old circles and
100%.
things. Yeah,
You
because it's
hit the
not,
nail on
let's,
the head.
yeah, and let's face it, you know, like no one is bad in nature. Naturally, no one is actually evil. It's just that we sometimes think like a fish, you know. Fish doesn't know that it's swimming in the sea or in the water. It thinks the water is part of itself, you know. So once the fish comes out of water, that's when it realizes, oh, okay, I was in that water, you know, like. So sometimes change has to happen like that. You have to come out of the water and feel what's the difference. And
That's right.
yeah, it's
That's
a
right.
shocking experience, but at the same time, you need it. That's how we all did it. You know, it takes courage. You have nothing to be scared of. And everyone will meet you back exactly how you found them as soon as you're ready to mingle with them again, you know, except then you won't be getting sucked into the drama, you know, you won't get,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think obviously any kind of adversity you face in life is going to be a transformative experience for anyone. But, you know, if you can start your transformation
Yes.
journey prior to you being in that situation, then better, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I
Yeah.
think, where we're coming from. Like, don't be reactive, be proactive about your
Mm,
life and how you want to
mm,
show up in the world. Start
mm.
your journey now instead of waiting for something to happen to you and then
Catastrophes.
reacting to it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, because that's going to
But,
be you. Yeah,
but I have to say, you know, I think tragedies have already happened. Like pandemic has affected us. You know what I mean? Now is the time. Use it
yeah, of
as a
course.
catalyst. Use it
Yes,
as the
definitely.
catalyst. Like Jinnie said, don't wait for a personal catastrophe to come and hit you. If you've been one of those lucky ones that have like had no financial losses or family or related stuff or any big losses in this time, I think you have a headway, and, you know, reach out for that information and keep making progress. Like Jinnie said, it's really good advice.
Yes,
And
yes.
and
This is a
especially
huge
now,
learning curve. Yeah, yeah.
especially
Those
now when
people. Yes.
I look out there, and you said this the other day too, you know, because I just started this YouTube channel that I've just been starting to post on. But when I started, you started about a year ago, right? You started
Yeah, so
your
I
channel.
had a couple of blogs for so my transformation journey. I guess the dance is obviously a part of what I do, but in terms of my personal development, I wanted to hone in again my mindset and articulate my thoughts better. So I actually did a personal branding course a few years ago. And from then I had the idea, okay, I would need to get my thoughts out in a constructive way. It will be good, therapeutic for me, and, possibly help people and allow me to connect with other like-minded people going through a similar journey. So hence that was my reason to start,
Beautiful.
the blog channel.
YouTube.
And yeah, that's right. So when you kind of touch on certain topics, it's very reflective for you as well when you're speaking about it, especially obviously when it's a candid conversation. And you learn as you go along in that journey too. So that's been something, quite pivotal in my next phase of transformation, I suppose.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see where it, where it goes, and doing more of this, So.
And what's for the listeners and audience here? What's it's called Dui Mishti or Tu Mishti? Is it TWO?
So two Mishti. So yes,
Tu
Dui
Mishti.
Mishti for yes, Mish obviously, with my other Bengali counterpart.
Yes.
I think Bengalis are quite underrepresented in in India as a whole. I don't think many people know much about the Bengali culture, or, our language, our food, what we're about. So it's just kind of a fun way to explore that, and again, talk about, certain topics and challenges that we have faced as, I guess, Bengali women in this generation. And as another one that I do with another entrepreneur friend of mine, it's called More Than One Opinion. So that, sort of touches on, both business and life. He is also a counselor and a pastor at his church. So he, provides a great kind of perspective on, different things on life. So, so it's been great and very informative, for me. So, yeah.
Nice. I'll add your handles. I'll add Jinnie's handles in the description box on this channel for you guys to check out. But in addition to what we were saying, that right now more than ever before, I discovered myself, and you said this the other day on the phone as well, that there's so many YouTube channels and so many teachers on YouTube right now, and it's all free resources for people that are sharing their accounts, their skills, their advice. I mean, take it all as a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, you do need to, enroll into something that you're going to learn solid, but you will learn a lot for free on YouTube. So hopefully this episode has also been the same, been so purposeful that it pushes you or inspires you in some way that is different from where you were. Do let us know in the comments below, or the comment section below, what you thought, and if you wanted us to talk about anything next time that I invite Jinnie over. Would you come back? Did you have fun today?
Oh my God, I had such a blast. As I said again, we could be doing this for hours on end, our energy and our vibe is just on another level. And, it's always so, I guess, energizing. Every time, we have a conversation, I feel very enlightened. I feel light, I feel optimistic. So those are the kind of quality interactions that I want more of in my life. And, I just want to be able to share this with as many people out there, that you should be living, a quality, purposeful life, and you can do it. You can do it too. And, know that, things weren't smooth sailing for us, either. But when you come out on the other end, is just, that feeling is just amazing. There's nothing to describe it.
That is super. You said the words that I was I totally resonate with. Thank you so much for your time and energy and vibe, Jinnie. I will definitely invite you back again for a follow-up, and hopefully we'll also have some topics that we can talk about more specifically, more than this today. and yeah, and keep us in the loop of things as well about how you go in your two channels, the Mishti and what is the other one called?
It's called More Than One Opinion.
More Than One Opinion. Okay, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much, Jinnie. I'll say goodbye here, but not for
Yeah.
long. We will invite you back again, and I'm sure the audience loved you. Can't wait to share more with you soon. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.